Materialism refers to the belief that physical matter is the fundamental reality and the focus on material wealth and possessions as the primary goal in life. It has roots in both philosophy and economics, and continues to shape values, beliefs, and attitudes in contemporary society. Materialism as a philosophical concept refers to the belief that physical matter is the fundamental reality and that everything, including thoughts and emotions, can be reduced to material interactions. This perspective holds that consciousness, the mind, and all other non-physical phenomena can be explained in terms of physical processes and interactions in the brain and nervous system. Proponents of materialism argue that it provides a scientific and rational explanation for the nature of reality, based on evidence from fields such as physics, biology, and neuroscience. However, materialism has also been criticized for being reductionist and lacking in depth and meaning. Some argue that materialism fails to account for the subjective experiences of individuals, such as emotions and spirituality, and reduces everything to purely physical and measurable entities. Critics also argue that materialism leads to a narrow focus on external appearances and material possessions, rather than the internal qualities and relationships that make life rich and meaningful. Despite these criticisms, materialism remains a widely held philosophical perspective and continues to influence the way we think about the world and our place within it. Materialism as an economic concept refers to the focus on material wealth and the acquisition of material goods as the primary goal in life. This perspective is often driven by the belief that possessing more material goods will bring greater happiness and fulfillment. Consumerism, the constant purchase and disposal of goods, is a hallmark of materialistic societies and economies. The drive to acquire more material goods can lead to a never-ending cycle of consumption and debt, as people take on loans and spend beyond their means to acquire the latest gadgets, fashion items, and other goods. Critics argue that this focus on material goods and wealth often leads to a narrow and shallow understanding of life, with a focus on external appearances and possessions rather than internal qualities and relationships. Materialism can create a sense of dissatisfaction, as people are never fully satisfied with what they have and always seek more. It can also have a negative impact on the environment, as the constant pursuit of material goods leads to overconsumption and waste. Additionally, the emphasis on material goods and wealth can result in social and economic inequality, as those with limited financial means are unable to keep up with the constant acquisition of material goods. Materialism has its roots in Western philosophy, and can be traced back to the ideas of ancient Greek philosophers such as Democritus and Epicurus. Democritus proposed that the world is made up of atoms and void, and that everything, including thoughts and emotions, can be reduced to the movements and interactions of physical matter. This idea laid the foundation for a materialistic understanding of the world. Epicurus, on the other hand, believed that pleasure and pain were the ultimate measure of what was good or bad in life, and that material wealth and possessions were necessary for a good life. This idea was influential in shaping the economic concept of materialism, which holds that material wealth and the acquisition of material goods are the primary goal in life. This perspective has been embraced by various societies throughout history, and continues to shape contemporary economic systems and values. The roots of materialism in Western philosophy thus provide a historical context for understanding the development of this concept and its impact on society and the world. Materialism is often contrasted with spiritual or idealistic philosophical perspectives, which hold that there is more to reality than just physical matter. In these alternative perspectives, consciousness, emotions, values, and spirituality are considered fundamental aspects of reality and play a significant role in shaping human experience. The spiritual perspective argues that material wealth and possessions can bring temporary pleasure and comfort, but true happiness and fulfillment come from a deeper understanding of the self, relationships with others, and the world around us. The contrast between materialism and spirituality has been a central theme in many philosophical and religious traditions. Ancient Eastern philosophy, for example, emphasized spiritual development and the liberation from material desire. Many spiritual and religious traditions also emphasize the idea of detachment from material possessions and a focus on inner peace and enlightenment. The spiritual perspective argues that material wealth and possessions can distract us from the important aspects of life and that a simpler, more mindful lifestyle can lead to a greater sense of happiness and fulfillment. This perspective challenges the idea that material wealth and possessions are the key to happiness and offers a more holistic and balanced approach to life. In economics, materialism is associated with consumerism and the constant pursuit of material goods and wealth. Consumerism is driven by the idea that acquiring more and more material goods will bring happiness and fulfillment. This leads to a focus on consumption and the accumulation of material wealth, rather than other aspects of life such as relationships, experiences, and personal growth. The constant pursuit of material goods often results in overconsumption and waste, as well as the exploitation of resources and the depletion of the environment. Critics of materialism argue that it leads to a narrow and shallow understanding of life, with a focus on external appearances and possessions rather than internal qualities and relationships. This can result in a constant comparison and competition with others, leading to feelings of insecurity and dissatisfaction. In addition, the pursuit of material wealth can distract individuals from more meaningful aspects of life, such as personal relationships, community involvement, and spirituality. Some argue that materialism contributes to a culture of entitlement and a sense of entitlement that can negatively impact social relationships and lead to a lack of empathy for others. Critics of materialism argue that it leads to a narrow and shallow understanding of life, with a focus on external appearances and possessions rather than internal qualities and relationships. This can lead to a constant pursuit of material goods and wealth at the expense of more meaningful aspects of life such as relationships, personal growth, and experiences. Research has shown that excessive materialism is linked to lower life satisfaction, greater psychological stress, and a decline in mental and physical health. People who place too much emphasis on material goods can become easily disillusioned and unfulfilled, as they come to realize that external possessions cannot bring long-lasting happiness or fulfillment. In contrast, alternative perspectives such as spiritualism and minimalism emphasize the importance of inner qualities and experiences over external possessions. They argue that material goods can provide temporary pleasure but that they cannot provide lasting happiness or fulfillment. Instead, they advocate for a focus on personal growth, meaningful relationships, and experiences that cannot be reduced to physical matter. This can lead to a more satisfying and fulfilling life, with a greater sense of purpose and meaning. By prioritizing internal qualities over external possessions, individuals can free themselves from the constant pursuit of material wealth and find a deeper sense of happiness and fulfillment. Critics of materialism argue that it leads to a narrow and shallow understanding of life, with a focus on external appearances and possessions rather than internal qualities and relationships. They argue that a constant pursuit of material goods distracts people from more meaningful aspects of life, such as relationships, personal growth, and fulfillment. The emphasis on material wealth often leads to a neglect of non-material values and the creation of a society that prioritizes consumerism over other important societal issues. Furthermore, excessive materialism can result in a disregard for the well-being of others and the environment. Additionally, some studies have shown that a focus on materialism can have negative impacts on mental and emotional well-being. For example, research has found that materialistic values are linked to decreased life satisfaction, increased anxiety and depression, and a decreased sense of personal control. Critics of materialism argue that it creates a cycle of constant desire for more and more material goods, leading to a never-ending pursuit of wealth and possessions. As a result, individuals may experience a sense of emptiness and unfulfillment despite their material wealth. Critics of materialism argue that it leads to a narrow and shallow understanding of life, with a focus on external appearances and possessions rather than internal qualities and relationships. This perspective can result in individuals valuing material goods over more meaningful experiences and relationships, leading to a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. Additionally, the constant pursuit of material wealth can also lead to unethical behavior and a disregard for the well-being of others and the environment. Critics argue that materialism encourages a lack of contentment and a never-ending cycle of wanting more, leading to a stressful and unfulfilling life. On the other hand, supporters of materialism argue that it provides a more scientifically grounded understanding of the world and that material wealth and possessions can improve quality of life. Supporters argue that a focus on material goods and wealth is not necessarily shallow or lacking in meaning, as long as it is accompanied by a focus on personal values, ethics, and relationships. Additionally, materialism is often criticized for its negative impact on the environment and resource depletion. The constant pursuit of material goods requires the extraction of resources, the production of goods, and the disposal of waste, which can lead to environmental degradation and resource depletion. Furthermore, materialism can contribute to social and economic inequality, as those with more material wealth are often able to accumulate even more, while those with less are left behind. In conclusion, materialism is a complex concept with both supporters and detractors, but it is important to critically evaluate its impact on our lives and the world around us. Thank you for watching and see you in the next videos.